Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Eric Mashinsky. I am the CEO and founder of Phenom Ventures, Phenom. I'm the founder of the Phenom Foundation. My beloved dog, Bernese Mountain Dog, is named Phenom. And when I DJ, which is not very often, but occasionally, I go under the pseudonym of DJ Phenom. So now that you know my classifications, my hope is that this YouTube video makes its way around the millennial demographic, but even earlier than that. I forgot if you're Generation Z or what the generation is prior to millennials. But if you're 18 to 22, this is also I think something you get some value out of. But certainly, if you are in your 20s or even in your 30s, and you particularly are an entrepreneur. So the reason I'm actually shooting this is because of a video that I just watched by Gary Vee. Many of you know Gary Vee, follow Gary Vee. I love Gary Vee. But I posted a comment on his video today, and it is, I'm just going to read it. It was right now, he put this out 15 hours ago. So this is Wednesday the 5th, 11 a.m. Eastern, so late last night. And let's see if my comment is even coming up anymore. I think it will. I took a photo of it and put it on Instagram. But essentially what the guy, a young guy, came into the wine store that he, basically built with his father and said, how do I sell more product? How do I grow my sales, my clients, and essentially how do I make more money? Those are all the things that come into that question that are relevant. And I'm not, again, doing anything in terms of Gary Vee to put him down. He has such valuable information. He's richer than I am, so God bless him. He runs a very successful media company. I run my businesses a little bit differently. I run them lean. They're highly profitable, but they are employee light, so that I can do whatever the hell I want to do. I can go wherever I want to go. I can work from anywhere that I want to work and still make very, very high profit margins because of my areas of expertise, which take a long time to get to. So I'm not going to basically transmute what I do to you to what you can do, but there is a skill set that was massive in getting me to where I am today. And what my comment to Gary Vee was, which is that basically he is saying, somebody says, how do I get more customers? It's easy. It's content. Post 20 times a day. Do you know about TikTok? You got to be on TikTok. Not being on TikTok is like, it's like you're losing your arm. You've got to be on Snapchat, Instagram, all the social media, and post the shit out of every single thing that you do during the day. First of all, screw that, okay? If you are just starting out in whatever business you are in, and this means I don't care what it is. I don't care if you are offering a product or selling cheese, if you're selling your personal trainer, you are selling information of any sort. By the way, if you want to become someone who can sell informational products, my strong suggestion is for you, even if you're young, plan on putting in a lot of time and energy and work into something that you love, that you can learn more about than the average, maybe not professional, but certainly anybody well beyond an amateur. And get to a point where you have enough knowledge to share that you could actually offer value, but make it a niche sector. You don't go after, if you're starting a beverage company, you don't start a Coke company. If you are starting a social network, you're not going to make it exactly like Facebook. Niches is where it's at. But what I'm going to get into right now for you guys that especially don't know what you want to do, I'm going to give you a roadmap of that. But here's what I wrote to Gary Vee this morning, and that is this. The one thing you're missing, my bro Gary V, you teach these kids about content and TikTok and Instagram for sales, question mark. That's for marketing, exclamation point. They call it sales and marketing because these are two different things. You want to increase sales, you effing contact and follow up with leads. Qualify prospects, then make them customers. And what are you selling? Yes, you can generate leads through active content on social, no doubt. But I generate leads and clients every freaking day because I go track them down and I pitch them. Okay? I'm going to give you an example of one of the things that was really surprising to me about the difference with using social media. And those of you that actually can get what I'm saying and start to do it on a regular basis, you will kill every one of these people that are anywhere near your size doing what you're doing on social media, that are just relying on spending a budget, looking at analytics, and waiting to see what comes in. Who's going to buy? Who's going to come to me? If you have anybody that say you have your business and you take a moment and you write down a list of like, these are the top 20 companies or people that would be my perfect customer. And when I say perfect customer, I don't mean like, I want to have LeBron James as my customer because I'm a big fan of his. It has to be somebody who's a customer that is ideal for what you're doing, that you could actually pitch them and say, here's what I do and I want you to give me a shot. And they would have an interest in that for some reason because it applies to them personally or professionally. So say you take that list and you run it and you write it out. What you need to understand is that you don't need an Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat budget or any content whatsoever to find that person's social media, to find that person's LinkedIn address, to find that person's phone number for their company and start pinging them. Pinging them in the sense that, first of all, when you're getting into sales, what you have to realize is that it's a contact sport. The more people you contact, the more people will become your customers. Secondly, rejection is a certainty. It's as certain as the sun rising up in the east, setting in the west. It's that certain because many people just are going to say no for whatever reason. These are all other things that I guess I could get into in other future videos to talk about the details of how to deal with a lot of the intricacies of these things. But what I'm saying is that, you get into a mode where, say those 20 different people, you identify the decision maker and you hit them up. You straight up hit them up on social media. You wait a couple days. They don't get back to you. You call them. You call them at their office. It's like, what? Who is this? Listen, I connected with you on LinkedIn. We're connected on LinkedIn. I wanted to follow up. I also sent you an email on Instagram. Listen, here's what I do and here's what I would love to chat with you about. Is there a time that I can come by the office? Is there a time that I can meet with you? Is there a time that we can chat? And you just send these messages about getting on the phone. I just like 10 minutes of your time to see if we can help you. A lot of these things are ignored, right? But depending on how this stuff is phrased and depending on how many people you contact, you have to also realize that a big part of this stuff is timing. Timing meaning somebody just so happens to be looking for what you are offering. Now, this is a fact that still remains to this day, and it was when I was coming up and I was in my 20s, and it was like late 90s, early 2000s. There was no internet. We had a phone. We had a fax machine. I mean, I've sold through all this, contacted through, but if somebody sends me a text, and listen, I'm not bashing Instagram marketing. I buy shit on Instagram all the time. But if you've got a budget where you've got a professionally done situation with a model that's showing a pair of like comfortable pants that Instagram knows that I wear, and they're going to put that in front of me, and I'm sitting there and I got, doing nothing at the end of the night, and I can just buy it on PayPal, I'll buy it. Fine, but not a lot of you have that. or those resources. So you go after these people and you start to contact them and you develop a list that you continue to follow up on until you can close the business. You don't need to wait for somebody to find you and press click, I want to buy your product. You can convince them to do it. And it's an aftermath that they're going to pay you. It doesn't matter how they pay you. It's like, look, I want to start a relationship with you. I want you to give me a chance. Let me give me a shot for this amount of time. What would make you, here's my regular fee. If I do this and I ended up cutting it, is the fee the issue? Sometimes the money's not the issue. It's more like, how can I trust you? How can I know that you're effective? Listen, give me a shot. 6 weeks. Give me 6 weeks. Give me a month. Give me 6 months instead of a year-long contract. And let me show you what I can do. These are the types of things that guys like me, if I get a 22-year-old kid who keeps freaking bothering me, I'm gonna finally say, fine. There's actually a story about this in the Bible that Jesus tells us how to get ahead in life. It was essentially a judge, and this woman, and I'm just paraphrasing this, had this case that she kept coming to the judge, and he was like, get out of here, woman, get out of here. You've got nothing, get out. She showed up every freaking day and kept saying, help me, help me. Finally, it literally says in the literature, so that the woman wouldn't bug him anymore, he gave her what she wanted. So these are the types of things in sales that you're not going to get from just doing content all day on TikTok, okay? Do that too. God bless you. But this is why I say that if you have somebody in a room with me for 60 days and Gary Vee for 60 days, and I'm not offering this because it's not what I do for a living, I think I could help create more momentum in sales, certainly in the short to intermediate term, because sales is stuff you can actually control, you can close, your action is targeted. But here's the other thing. So I'm going to give you one more example about this, and then I'm going to give you what I think are ways that if you don't know what you're doing with your life, how I would start. And these are ways where I think that if you went down this path for a couple of years, you'll be making money, okay? Like real money. There's real money in what I'm about to talk about. And it's not flipping shit on eBay. That's a great way. I get what Gary Vee says there. And my biggest business philosophy is, he who is faithful with little is faithful with much. And that means that everybody wants to be the superstar, but if you're not going to make that one follow-up call, the one guy who's got a question about your product or service that you just blow off because you're like, whatever, I don't want to deal with this guy, or somebody actually does, and then they have a little bit of an issue with what you're offering, and you're not willing to engage to improve what you're offering. And so if you're not going to do this with individual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 first clients, how the hell are you going to do it with 6,000? You're never going to do it. It's just not going to happen. So that's the answer. But there was a girl that I met, and we were talking last year about, what she travels a lot. And I was like, so how do you even do this? You're on Instagram, but you don't look like you're an influencer to the point where you can charge a bunch of money for ads or whatever else. She's like, well, I do social media creation, and I work with, there's an agency she worked with that were, I think it was in the ballpark of like entertainment or brand athletes, or something to do with agents with entertainments and brand athletes. And so I had a thought come up because I have a connection, a buddy of mine who does that stuff as well. And no, this isn't what it was. What it was that she did one thing for these groups, and one of the things that group wanted her to help with was to find people that would do the social media for these brands, okay? And my buddy does social media for athletes and for not really entertainers, but mostly athletes. So her first legacy part of the business, I'm like, so you get people that will pay you to do these posts, right? And this is for all of you that have any real Instagram or social media followers. This is what 99% of you are missing. And you're leaving a lot of money on the table because of this, okay? And that is when she would get these inquiries and she would book the stuff. Okay, great. She's happy with that because she's posting and she just expects it to come in. I'm like, how many people have you contacted this month about your ability to post for them? Because your audience is exactly the type of audience that they're targeting. She's like, I've never done that before. I'm like, what in the fuck are you doing? Like, excuse my French, but this is the sales part of the sales and marketing. I go, if you, and I walked through, I didn't say, what the fuck are you doing? I'm just thinking that. And I'm like, listen, here's what you could do that would probably at least triple your income, because she's dealing with these little, things that come in once in a while. It's not a ton of stuff. Triple is probably conservative. Her income could go up 10x if she actually started to hustle at all. But she has all these people that follow her that are brands and that are other things. And she was the perfect example of me saying, write the 20 brands that you really think would be good for you. Because say she's got, 20,000 followers, or I don't even know what her number is. It's not like a huge number, but it's not like a super tiny number either. And I think there's a ton of money in advertising for brands on Instagram and other vehicles if you have even 10,000 followers, especially if it's targeted. You can make some money and you can do stuff regularly. So, everybody thinks you need to have millions. That's not where I would focus in terms of who to hire, first of all, because they're too expensive and they're too in demand. But if you're looking at people that have digital marketing, you find out who that is, you connect with them. Okay, you connect with them there, you connect with them on Instagram, you connect with them all over the place, and you of sponsorship that I would love to have for my audience. Here are the demographics of my audience, and I will, because I love your brand, if you guys are interested in signing on this month for a 1-year contract, I will cut it in half, which is actually like your normal rate. You got to use, you have to use tactics when you're dealing with sales. But anyway, she could do it any way she wanted. If she just was contacting people, outbound calls, outbound contacts, in addition to what comes in, or if she has anybody email her about anything and she's not chasing that down and following that up, that is laziness, is what it is. And Gary Vee talks a lot about laziness and people not being patient, follow up with much. So in any event, now, so in this day and age, I think about, like, how does somebody who, say you're a young guy, you're 20, you're 22, you're 24, and you know that in sales you can make some money. Sales is the one profession, and I still believe this. I still believe this because this was true when I was coming up, and it's true today. If you are good at sales, if you are great at sales, it is one of the careers you can count on always earning a good living. And when I say a good living, back when we were looking at statistics with this, back in like the mid 90s, 2000, when I first became a stockbroker and dropped out of college, it was always like, look, if you were a top-notch salesperson, you're always going to make at least 150 grand a year. I think this was a fact and some studying that a guy named Brian Tracy had done. So now, you fast forward 20, 25 years and you look at the devaluation of the dollar. It costs us more for these things. We earn more in dollar terms. I believe that if you are good and you can actually execute on being a top, I don't even know if you need to be like top 5, top 10%, top 20% maybe salesperson in your industry, in your sector, you're going to make at least $200,000 to $250,000 a year. If you're a top 3 to 5%, you're looking at $500,000, 300 to 700 grand. Top 1% of salespeople make millions of dollars a year. Okay, sales, it's like one of these things that it's like people don't really like to do it. They don't necessarily have the greatest view about it. But let me just tell you something. If sales stopped, the world stops. The world economy and activity stops. There is nothing. The difference is how do you go about it? And that's where, it's important to get sales training. So where do you go for it? Well, first of all, you need to find I think the biggest thing is you want to be selling in an industry that is growing a lot, where there's a lot of demand, there's a lot of opportunity. And if you catch a cycle of something fairly new, there's two that come to mind for millennials for me off the bat. Cannabis, which is the lesser of the two, and crypto slash blockchain. There are a number of opportunities, hundreds that will turn into thousands, maybe into millions of opportunities in blockchain and crypto, that if you absorbed yourself in this area and learned as much as you possibly could to the point where you can actually speak some of the lingo, and then you scour the universe of people that are offering jobs in blockchain and crypto related areas, and you just go to these people that don't really have a lot of folks that are qualified. It's not like they can call up an executive who's been doing this for 20 years because it didn't exist. So you go there and you say, and the ones that would be your number one candidate would be those that have a training program. Like, you find people that are like, look, we have a sales background, we've built sales teams, our top sales guys in every industry they've been in have made at least $500,000 a year. We're going to teach you how to do the same in crypto, okay? And there could be a lot of different ways to do that. It could be selling solutions for a particular token that has a utility to that token, that get flat out people to buy the token in the open market. It's kind of like a stock promotion or broker or investor relations awareness, things like that. That's the type of stuff that I had a background in the stock market. So to segue over to that into the crypto world, it would be very easy for me. But if I was 20 years younger, I'm 44, if I was 20 years younger, that's where I'd be looking. Cannabis, I say, because it's just going to be a very high growth industry for a while. And if you can get hooked into the right people and you can learn about what their needs are, who are they needing to sell into? Is it going to be processors? Is it going to be retail? Is it, whatever distribution? I don't think that's as good of an opportunity because, at the end of the day, the best business is the money business. And if you're in crypto and you're in that world, then there are just a lot of different facets once you understand the ecosphere, how you can end up making money. But regardless of those things, these are just ideas that I'm for. That there was this big opportunity in the internet stocks, in the stock market. So there were a lot of people that became stockbrokers and they made a bunch of money and they blew up, and then they were all of a sudden out of a job, and it was a recession here. And a lot of those guys, because they understood at least sales, they understood phone sales, they understood how to take a lead that comes in and take it to a sale, and they went into the mortgage business. And then the mortgage business was booming for 8-9 years until the crash. Some of these guys were killing it. They were killing it. I had clients at that time because I was still a financial advisor. And there were guys that were executives at some of these firms that I don't think they had a college education. They were street smart, but they were nothing special. And they're pulling in $600,000-$700,000 a year. In today's terms, that's, probably pushing $1 million a year. So anyway, but this is relevant to ladies, men, selling clothes online, selling fitness gear, selling energy shakes, selling whatever it is. It does not matter. I'm just encouraging you guys. The missing link for millennials and for all the information that you guys get out there in the entrepreneurial world and how to build your business, Gary Vee's an amazing resource. He's extremely honest. He's extremely experienced, especially with content, social media, and he's rich and he's done it before. So I'm not saying don't listen to him. But what I'm saying is that I think that the one thing that he's missing and that a lot of other people are missing is the sales component. It's not just marketing. People used to go to college. I think they still do. But what's your degree going to be in? Sales and marketing. Now, you could go just for marketing or you could go for sales and marketing because they're two different things, okay? two different things, two different skill sets. I have the advantage of, I believe, so for example, I've built my businesses on utilizing both. And now I'm basically an internet marketer that focuses on, I build newsletters for inbound. This is the biggest benefit that I still have, that it just doesn't matter who I'm dealing with in terms of any sort of a competitor. I have cold called companies that I wanted to get involved with that didn't know me from Adam, that within 30 days signed a $150,000 contract with me for a 6-month contract. I've done it numerous times in the past couple of years, and it's the sales experience, guys. That's where it comes from. I'm not getting those people from posting shit on TikTok. These guys don't even fucking go on that stuff, number one. Number two, it's not happening, but they're around. There's a lot of big money out there that does not pay attention to all the social media, and that does not buy stuff based on a bunch of content that keeps coming through, even though the younger generation is more used to it. Be